The national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, is asking regions clamoring for secession to forget the idea, as Nigeria is better together than separated. A former Lagos State governor says the drum of war people are beating will only result in the disintegration of the country, just as it happened in Sudan and even Iraq. He says the country is still trying to recover from the effects of the civil war and it cannot afford another war.
Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Professor Abiodun Adenyi, Rise News Analyst. Prof, glad to have you join us on Newsnight.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, he's smiling. I'm wondering what is so funny, because right now with everything going on in the country,
well,
it's almost like there's nothing to smile about.
You can't wait on your face. You've
Absolutely.
got to leave. That's the truth about life.
Absolutely.
All right, Prof. You listened to that read on DSS warning that they will no longer, or the grace for tolerating people who are trying to throw works into the unity of Nigeria will no longer be tolerated. Is it coming too late, or is it coming at the right time? What's your sense of that statement from the DSS?
That's right. But first of all, I think it's okay to acknowledge the fact that uncharacteristically, they have slightly been very tolerant, very, very accommodating. If it were the DSS or the SSS that we used to know those days, they would have gone against those who are agitating for some form of secession, agitation or the other. But in the circumstance, they have been largely tolerant. That's one aspect. The second aspect is to say that, well, it's okay because it's their job. They're supposed to be concerned about threats to our national unity, threat to the progress and stability of the nation. So it's in order for them to come out with this kind of warning, so on that note, we can welcome it. But the third aspect is for us to also sound a note of caution, for us to tell them, to be circumspect, in apprehending people or in arresting people, in questioning people, so that the tension that is already in the land, will not be aggravated. There are so many ways in which you can advise them to probably find, bring about conciliation. This is a moment where, a moment of reconciliation, a moment where we have to find ways of fostering understanding and not doing anything, that will aggravate the already tense situation in the country, irrespective of their statutory role as people, as operatives who are concerned with, subterranean threats to the unity of the country.
Well, there's some who view this particular statement by the DSS as oppressive, because they would say the Nigerians do have the freedom to actually agitate for whatever they need to. Do you agree with those people, or do you think that this message is just apt as it is?
Yeah, I think it's another marker. And let's be frank. There's no absolute freedom anywhere in the world. Freedom, democracy, yes, freedom is ingrained in it, freedom is implied in the democratic environment, but freedom cannot be absolute. There's an extent to which we want to exercise freedom, and somebody will say, hey, you are going ultra vires, stop there. But again, how do we find the balance? We're in a period where we have to be finding, the balance. We have to be taking risk and finding the balance in between. A period of soul searching, a period of reconciliation, and the onus is largely on the part of our leaders, to drive this reconciliatory process. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has said it, that there's no point singing the songs of disintegration, because we know it from all over the world that disintegration will send us back many years and down the ladder of underdevelopment, and nobody we can shout it. If we start it, we don't know where it will end. And of course, there are many lessons to learn from around the world. Nobody wants to follow this route, but at the same time, it's not saying that those who are agitating don't have a reason. They have reason. It's not also saying that we should be Lilliputians in our land. Like some people are arguing. What we need to do in that circumstance is, to be concerned about giving and taking, to be concerned about, making sacrifices, through political calculations, and of course, we want to believe that our leaders are not lost, that these facts are not lost on them. But how do we believe it? We have to see action, and that's why we're asking for action towards peace, towards reconciliation, beyond mere verbalization of these things. We need actions taken. And how can actions be taken? Increased consultation, increased flow of information, consultation with stakeholders, probably talking with those who are actually leading the agitation. There's nothing wrong with it. You're just showing a greater grace, showing greater wisdom as a mature person. And all leaders, it doesn't matter the age, are naturally supposed to exhibit a higher level of maturity.
Now, how do you, in all sense of honesty, discuss with someone who goes to a government house or a governor's village home and burns the place, sets the place on fire? Someone who, like in Ebonyi State, will learn that they went to a police station again and burned down the place and killed a policeman. One is missing. How do you discuss with such people? I'm still talking about
injured one and one is missing.
Injured one is missing. How do you discuss with such? Do those kind of people really want peace? Because there's a talk from the clergy that yes, you can agitate for self-determination. That's not a crime. But when you go burning stations, killing policemen, that's a crime.
It's actually, your point is actually valid, and I can't agree with you more. But I also want to believe that all those carrying out these dastardly acts, are not working alone. I believe that they have leaders, they have sponsors, and the responsibility is for agencies like DSS, the police, and other relevant security agencies to try to unravel these criminals, because they are, like you said, acts of criminality. They are lawless acts that should not be tolerated. But beyond the act itself is the need for us to identify their sponsors, because they're not acting alone. There's a network somewhere that we need to unravel, and that's the responsibility of the state through
the question
instrumentality
of they get their guns,
agencies.
they get their ammunition. That
the proliferation of small arms has actually been an issue here in Nigeria. It's not new, but now we're seeing the evidence of the fact that we should have mopped out these guns. These are guns that we're actually giving to thugs, especially during the elections. But beyond even the criminals, let's even leave the criminal elements now. My concern is even those who are calling for cessation. We're seeing this now beyond even the Southwest, which has always been ongoing for some time now. We're even seeing the Southwest, the Southeast had that going for a long time. The Southwest now is also doing the same thing. Do you think the government is handling it properly in terms of trying to find the solution to the reason why these people are calling for a separation from Nigeria?
Well, Amaka, I said earlier that we're in a period of balance and risk. When you have crisis snowballing, you cannot say this solution or this step is the right step towards addressing it. You just begin to come up with a conflation of steps and hoping that you get one right.
Are we seeing enough steps even, especially from the government at the center? We're seeing state governors scramble to find some sort of solution. But from the center, are we seeing enough move to see that they're trying to address these issues?
I think we have made this point severally, that maybe people have attributed it to maybe his style, and that's why we're saying that maybe the presidential style should be tweaked a little bit to suit the circumstances in which we are in. And how can this happen? Maybe some more hands-on, hands-on activity, some little bit of theatrics, even if it's going to be some level of showmanship, it might be intangible, but at least will go a long way in showing
always
that, yes.
interesting discussing with you. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your contributions.